Hello everyone and welcome. We're here in Yeshivat Chut Shel Chesed under the guidance of Rabbi Shalom Arush, and today we are learning and reading and telling over the stories, the additional stories of Rabbi Nachman. This is the story called The Melancholy Saint. He was a great tzaddik, but he fell to depression. And this is something that we all could use a little encouragement, something that we could all use some chizuk, and see how this saint got out of his situation and things that he discovered along the way. So sadness is a very despicable trait. One must keep oneself from it completely. You know that Yosef HaSadik, he was thrown into a pit twice. He was in a pit, his brothers threw him into a pit, and he was in a pit in jail. And it's brought down that he would dance. Why? Because when you act happy, you're able to become a happy person, and we have to be very careful to stay away from sadness. A person must realize that every time he makes even the slightest motion to serve Hashem, it is very precious in Hashem's eyes. This is true even if the person only moves himself by a single hair's breadth. Why? This is because a person exists in a physical body in the lowest of the worlds. Therefore, every movement is extremely difficult for him and is very precious in Hashem's eyes. We're going to see in the end what this means really. So there was once a tzaddik who became very depressed and melancholy. This depression and melancholy caused the tzaddik great difficulty and became worse and worse. He fell into a very heaviness and very, very, very bad state where it was literally impossible for him to move to that extent. He wanted to make himself happy and uplift himself, but it was impossible for him to do anything. Whenever he finds something that would make him happy, the evil one would find sadness in it. That happens to us also sometimes, right? We know that we're supposed to look for the good and we're supposed to look for the good points. But we say, but it really wasn't the way it should be, or it's not the way I used to do it, or it's not the way that person does it, or it's not the way my rabbi does it. Yeah, that's okay. We're actually holding now Chanukah time, where this is the idea of the pach shemen, of that one jug of oil. Everything, there was destruction all around. Everyone was in a bad state. Physically, there was war. Spiritually, they were in a very low place. And they found one pach shemen, one small little jug of oil that was holy, that still had the stamp of holiness, of approval, of the Cohen Gadol. That's our life. Yes, sometimes life, a lot of times in life, looks chaotic and nothing's going for you or nothing's the way it's supposed to be. Look for that jug of oil. And try not to nix it like this tzaddik was doing. Therefore, it was impossible for him to do anything to make himself happy, since in everything he found sadness. Finally, the tzaddik began to meditate on the fact that Hashem did not create him a Gentile. This could certainly be the source of unlimited joy. Why? It is impossible even to imagine the thousands of levels of separation between the lowest possible Jewish person and the spiritual level of uncleanliness of a idolater. He pondered God's kindness that he did not make me a heathen, and realized that this could be a source of great joy without any sadness. He finally found one thing that he can't take away. Why? When a person tries to find joy in something that he himself did, I put on tefillin, or I was able to pray, or I learned, or I lit Shabbat candles, or I lit the Chanukah menorah, it is possible to find sadness in every joy. Why? I didn't do it the way it was supposed to do. I didn't have the proper kavanah. No matter what he does, he can find shortcomings and he will not be able to uplift himself and be happy. But in the fact that he did not make me a heathen, there is no sadness. Because why? This is from Hashem. Hashem made you this way. He had pity on you and he didn't make you. Shelo asani goy, we make a blessing every single day. Since this was Hashem's deed, there are no shortcomings in it. And hence, there is no defeating in this rejoicing. No matter what, there is an unimaginable difference between him and an idolater. The tzaddik began to make himself happy with this. He rejoiced and uplifted himself little by little. Like we have that little jug of oil, and it became more, and it lasted for 8 days, and then it took us to be able to get the proper oil we needed, and we were able to cleanse the Beit HaMikdash, slowly but surely. But it all starts from that small thing, and that untouchable, so to speak, thing. And that is that Hashem created you the way you are. And even if you're a Gentile, you can tap into that goodness inside of you. But especially someone that's Jewish, they have a gift. They are the beloved children of Hashem. Yes, all the creations are Hashem's children. But there's a certain aspect where Hashem says, you are my beloved children. You're my firstborn. So he came to such a level of joy that he was on the same level of joy that Moshe experienced when he went on high to receive the tablets. That's a very high level. Yes, we're talking about a holy saint. Throughout this uplifting and joy, he was able to fly many miles into the supernal universes. He saw himself that he was very far from the place where he had been originally, where he was very sad, right? This bothered him very much. He felt that when he descended, he would be very far away from his original place. But when it was discovered that he had disappeared, people would consider it a great wonder. The Tzaddik did not want such publicity, since he always wanted to walk modestly with God. So he was going and he was flying high, and he said, I know I'm gonna land. He did know this. He knew he was gonna land. So that's a very important thing to know. A person should know that when they're on a spiritual high, they are gonna come down, right? You go up the mountain, you're gonna have to go down the mountain. So prepare yourself. So he was prepared, and he said, wow, I really got to such a high place. I'm gonna go back and no one's gonna recognize me. And I'm not gonna be able to converse with the regular people that I used to converse with. But he did not want this. The joy did ultimately come to end. Since joy has a limit, therefore joy begins automatically and ends automatically. When the joy begins to end, it ends little by little. The Tzaddik therefore descended little by little, coming down from the place which he had flown during the time of joy. He eventually returned to the place from which he had ascended. He was very surprised, since he was in exactly the same place we had been at first. He realized that he had returned to the exact place where he had been at first. Looking at himself, he realized that he had not moved at all. He said to himself, maybe if I had moved, it was only a small little hair's breadth. He had moved so little that no one other than Hashem could measure it. The Tzaddik was very surprised at this. Here he had flown so far through so many universes at the same time, he had not moved at all. This showed him how precious in Hashem's eyes is even the slightest motion. When a person moves himself even a hair's breadth in this world, it can be considered more than thousands of miles and even thousands of universes. So Rabbi Nachman explains this to us. He says, this can be understood when we realize that the physical world is no more than a central point in the midst of a sphere. So take a pizza pie, right? The middle point of the pizza pie, right? Every single slice is touching very, very, very close to each other, right? Hair's breadth difference. But when you go up each slice, the crust takes up a lot of space, right? So line number 1 and line number 2, down here, they're very, very close. So maybe you move just a dot, but you end up in 2 different directions up top, right? So that's how it works in this world. So, another for the story. There was we are saying stories, but there's another story, and we're speaking about Chanukah a little bit. So let's add to this one more beautiful story I heard from Rabbi Moshe Weinberger. So the Maggid of Tolna, back in Europe in the olden days, he was getting ready to light his Chanukah menorah, and it was the first night of Chanukah, and he's sitting there with the candle, and he's ready to light, but he's not lighting. And all the students and the Hasidim are waiting, and they're when is our Rebbe going to light the menorah? When is he going to light the menorah? All of a sudden he turns around, and he's looking with his candle, and he's saying, hey, where's tall Shaya? There was a person in the community who was very, very tall. And now Shaya was embarrassed. He makes himself a little small, hides himself behind the other Hasidim. But the Rebbe says, I need Shaya. I can't light my candles till Shaya comes here. And everyone pushes Shaya to the front. And it's him and the rabbi and the menorah. The rabbi says, Shaya, I have a question to ask you. And this was an interesting question, especially back in the day. People didn't talk these things out loud. And he goes, Shaya, do you love your wife? And Shaya was surprised. And he says, yes, Rabbi, I love my wife. He says, and there's sometimes things you need to tell your wife, like a secret, or you need to tell her something that maybe you love her or whatever it is. Yeah, sure. He says, so how do you do that? Shaya says, so I'm a tall person. I bend down and I come face to face, I talk into her ear or whatever it is. Rebbe says, you want to demonstrate to everybody? Now this Rebbe was very small. So the Rebbe is standing there small, and his disciple, which is very tall, Shaya, stands over the Rebbe and he bends down to the Rebbe's face. Rebbe says, oh, very nice. But wait, there's something that's missing. He says, what's missing? He says, yeah, think about it. There's something that's missing. Shai says, oh, so my wife is short. She's even shorter than you, Rebbe. So she has to go on her tippy toes to hear what I have to tell her. Rebbe goes, oh, that's great. And he goes and he goes to light the menorah, and there's extra happiness and joy that night. And he's lighting the menorah, and they're singing and dancing and having a great time. Afterwards, of course, the great students, the older students, go to the Rebbe and say, Rebbe, what's this whole show you just did for us? You brought the tallest guy in the town, and you made him bend down, and she goes on her tippy toes. Rebbe says, let me tell you, I was sitting there, standing over the candles with the candle, ready to light. And all of a sudden I started thinking and said, little me, what am I doing already? What pleasure is Hashem getting from me? I'm just a small little creation. Hashem has a beautiful world. It's endless. So many people, so many angels. Hashem really needs little me. And then I thought about Shia. Shia is so tall, and his wife is so short. And how does that work out? How's that dynamics work out? And then I said, yeah, Shia will bend down, and she'll go a little bit closer to him. And that's how they could have love, and that's how they could talk to each other, and that's how their relationship thrives. And I said, isn't that not so with Hashem and us? We're little us. And Hashem is great Hashem. Hashem is tall. And Hashem wants to tell us, my children, I love you. I care about you. I value you. And he comes and he bends down to us, especially during the days of Chanukah. He bends down to the lowest levels where he doesn't usually hang out. But we have to do something. And we have to pick up our toes and pick up our tippy toes in the right direction, to listen, what does Hashem want from me? To do something positive. And like we had this story with the saint that was depressed, where find that little thing where no one could take that away from you. That's eternal. Hashem gave you something that's eternal. You performed a deed that's eternal. And once you get that, then you say, yes, I do have some value. Hashem does believe in me. Hashem created me a Jew. Hashem wants my little candles are performing big things. And you know what? Like you said with the pizza pie, the small little thing here in this world, when you get upstairs, it's huge. So may Hashem help us to remember this. Remember this next time you have pizza. Remember this next time you light the Chanukah candles. Remember this the next time you feel down. Just lift your tippy toes. Lift your toes a little bit higher. A little bit more Torah. A little bit more prayer. A little bit more holiness. A little bit more emunah. A little bit closer to Hashem. And Hashem is bending over. We have to just lift up Adat. Thank you for joining us. We'll catch you next time.